You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
District at 10 only won that portion at 4. I won the last couple of races, 20 points plus.
I couldn't continue to watch what was happening in Washington without stepping into the fight.
The battle for the 16th Congressional District, Congressman Vern Buchanan, Democrat David Shapiro, their one and only debate. The stakes could not be higher. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the 16th Congressional District debate between Congressman Vern Buchanan and David Shapiro in a moment. But first, our top stories at 7. With polls continuing to show an incredibly tight race between Florida Senator Bill Nelson and Governor Rick Scott, former Vice President Joe Biden is traveling from one end of Florida to another in support of Nelson's re-election effort. Biden and Nelson stopped at a small coffee shop in Tallahassee, meeting with dozens of mostly young voters. Biden heaped praise on Nelson, who has spent almost 18 years in the Senate but is facing a tough challenge from Scott. Biden praised Nelson for voting in favor of the Affordable Care Act, which has been a frequent target of Republicans.
For many of you, it's your first vote. But I tell you, whether you're your age or you're my age, this is an election that is bigger than politics.
According to the State Division of Elections, well over 1 million votes have already been cast in the November 6th general election. President Trump signing into a law today a water resources bill that will help critical projects like beach renourishment and environmental protection. The Senate passed the measure earlier this month. It will allow the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to construct, expedite, modify, and study more than 100 water resource projects. The bill will also increase water storage in the West, replenish shorelines across Florida, and build new dams. Now let's head over to ABC7's Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the First Alert forecast. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Good evening, everyone. We're watching several things going on now in our weather. We have some changes. It'll be warmer overnight and not in the 60s anymore. And then storms are possible mainly on Friday. We could even see some thunderstorms, and look for a weekend cool down. And this one will be much stronger as far as the cooler weather goes than we've seen. The last couple have been rather weak and not around very long. And this satellite imagery shows the story right now. We have a stationary front right here across the northern Gulf of Mexico, and then we have Willa making landfall here this evening. That moisture will kind of get entrained in an area of low pressure here in the northwest Gulf, and then that low will track right along that stationary front and bring with it a cold front, and that will bring us a good chance for rain. Right now, some rain falling in Gainesville, up near Jacksonville, stretching over to Tallahassee, and in the Gulf of Mexico. Quite a bit of light rainfall right now. A few showers well offshore here. A little rainfall just to near Pinellas County into St. Petersburg. Not expecting much here. We may see a sprinkler or two, but not a lot of heavy rainfall anticipated this evening. A lot of clouds will be around. It's 79 right now. Mostly cloudy out there, and winds are out of the north-northwest at 9. The pressure is at 30.02 inches. That's starting to get a little lower, still under influence of high pressure, though. Temperatures a bit cooler where the rain and clouds are. Tallahassee now at 68, 70 in Jacksonville, out ahead of that front. In the upper 70s to low 80s right now, 77 degrees in Orlando and 79 in Wauchula, Northport at 81, Bradenton 80, all into the upper 70s there from Venice southward to Inglewood. The Gulf water temperature is still pretty warm at 83 degrees. And as far as the futurecast goes, we are looking for a good chance for showers Friday. We'll get more on that in just a little bit. Now we'll send it over to Alan. Alan?
Bob, thank you. So here we go. The race for Congress in the 16th Congressional District has been one of the most highly watched contests in the country. Why? After all, President Trump won the district by 10 points. Voters on the Suncoast have not elected a Democrat to Congress since 1983, but no one motivates Democrats like Donald J. Trump, and the party is hoping this year will be the year to flip this district, which includes Sarasota, Manatee, and southern Hillsborough County. We would like to welcome Congressman Vern Buchanan, who was first elected in 2007, and Democratic challenger David Shapiro, a well-known and accomplished trial attorney in Sarasota. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You both will get a 1 minute for opening remarks, and we had a coin flip a few minutes ago. Congressman, you won, so you get to go first.
Well, I want to thank you, Alan. I want to thank Channel 7 for the opportunity to visit with folks here in the district. Let me just give a little bit of background. I'm a blue-collar kid that grew up in the Detroit area. One of 6 kids. I was the oldest. To give you some sense of that, I had a little background. I remember my father and mother both worked in the factory with 6 kids, but I remember asking my dad, "Dad, why do you work afternoons?" He said, "I make another dime an hour." That's where I came from. I put myself through college, and then I met my lovely bride. In 1976, we got married. We celebrated our 42nd anniversary. But we built two big companies together, Speedy Printing, 1976. We started with a couple of stores, built that into 750 stores across America, sold it, and then came to Florida in 1990, and we got into car dealerships, and we acquired a lot of car dealerships over a period of time. I only say that humbly because I've lived the American dream, and my goal is to make sure that our children and grandchildren have the same opportunities that I've had. Regardless what their dream might be, I want to make sure I do everything I can to make sure they realize their full potential.
Congressman, thank you. Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan, again for this opportunity. For nearly 30 years, I have had the honor and the privilege of representing people in our community against powerful insurance companies and callous corporations. And really now I see that those very same companies are running Washington as lobbyists and special interests, and Congressman Buchanan is helping them and supporting them. 12 years in Congress, he recently wrote himself a $2.1 million tax break while working families and seniors are struggling. From his record, it appears he doesn't really care about the health care of the working families or people with pre-existing condition. He doesn't care about seniors who are struggling, trying to get by on Medicare and Social Security. And he really doesn't care about the environment, which, as we now see, exacerbates the red tide, which is affecting our way of life and killing our economy. I do care. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because you can't change Congress unless you change the leadership and the people that you send there.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, what might be the most important vote one of these two men will have to make. So stay with us.
Me. Oh, come on, man. Oh man, I love technology. Hey, check out my new phone. Look at this right here. For years, the DeSoto Club has needed improvements. Join me and Boys and Girls Club of Manatee County as we raise money to build a brand new facility. It will be bigger and better, just like it was 40 years ago when I attended. Invest in kids, build great futures.
Enjoy fine wine and great foods, all while supporting a great cause. It's the 17th annual Suncoast Food and Wine Fest, happening Saturday, November 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Premier Sports Campus in Lakewood Ranch. Taste hundreds of wines from around the world and sample great food from the area's finest restaurants. All proceeds go to local charities and Rotary projects. For tickets and information, visit suncoastfoodandwinefest.com.
When the call comes in, it's time to go to work. We'll respond first, but FBL is right there with us.
You really never know what you're going to pull up on. You don't know what type of call you're going to have. You don't know, once you get to that call, what you're going to encounter.
Whether it's a big storm, it could be a house fire, you must be ready at all times.
We're always happy to see FPL. It's pretty much a team effort. Everybody has a job to do.
We know we can count on them. They'll be there, and so will we.
This is an important message for anyone with Medicare. You may be eligible for an all-in-one Medicare plan that combines hospital, medical, and prescription drug coverage together with extra benefits that may include dental, vision, hearing aids, and much more. Some of these plans have a $0 monthly premium regardless of your income. That's right. For one low plan premium, or in some cases a $0 premium, you may be able to get coverage for your hospital visits, doctor appointments, prescription drugs, routine dental care, eyeglasses and contact lenses, hearing aids, and possibly more. Today may be the first time you've heard about this type of Medicare plan. The advisors at the Medicare.com helpline are licensed insurance agents who will explain more when you call. Call now to see if you qualify. Call the number on your screen now. Call now to see if you qualify for these benefits. You worked hard for your Medicare. Now is the time for your Medicare to work hard for you. Not affiliated with or acting on behalf of any government agency or program.
Support the Hurricane Michael Relief and Disaster Fund by donating to the United Way of Northwest Florida today. Help communities rise and rebuild after the devastating mess left behind. Every donation makes a difference and is appreciated. Together, we are all Panhandle Strong.
Find out first at 4 with ABC7 News at 4. Weekdays on ABC7.
Welcome back to the 16th Congressional District debate. Joining us is Republican Vern Buchanan and Democrat David Shapiro. And gentlemen, we're going to discuss a lot of issues tonight, and I would imagine a lot of issues that you strongly disagree with each other. But arguably, one of the most important votes that one of you two men might make in the new Congress, should the Democrats win the control of Congress, is whether or not you would vote to impeach the president if Special Counsel Mueller finds that laws were broken. So let me put the question in this fashion. The president won this congressional district by 10 points. Would both of you promise not to vote for articles of impeachment should the special counsel come up with what he believes are grounds for impeachment? Congressman.
Well, I'll address that, but I do want to go back on his opening statement. He should be ashamed of himself attacking me. I'm not up there to feather my bed or anything like that. I'm up there to make a difference. I mean, he's a personal injury lawyer that sues seniors and everybody else in this community, a lot of my business friends, and he's made millions of dollars doing it. So I just want to make it very clear. If he wants to go down this road, that's why he's losing. He's running a negative campaign. And it's a shame because we should be talking about issues tonight.
Okay, on the issue of impeachment, would you promise right here, right now, you would not vote to impeach the president should articles of impeachment be levied if the Democrats win control?
I would just say this needs, I want to let it play out and see where it goes in terms of the investigation. I think it needs to be a full investigation. I think these things go on way too long, but I'll approach that when that time comes. But I can't imagine it's going to go to a point of impeachment. Now, the Democrats have made it very clear that they're going to impeach day one. That's their agenda. That's where they want to go with this. They've been wanting to impeach him. If they could have, they could impeach him last year or so. And so we'll see what my opponent says.
Okay, David, same question to you. Would you promise not to vote for articles of impeachment?
Again, I agree with Congressman Buchanan. Nothing can be decided until the Mueller investigation is completed. There's no reason to get ahead of ourselves. We don't know what it's in there. It's all been speculation. There's been a lot of political posturing. But from my point of view, we should finish the investigation, see what it turns up, and then make a decision based on that information. That's how I see it. It's really not a political event at this point. It should simply be an investigation, if nothing else, to determine whether the Russians were involved in our elections, to what extent, and how can we stop it from happening again. Let him finish without impediment.
Follow-up question, Mr. Shapiro. We know what's been in public in terms of the Mueller investigation, the events that led to the firing of the FBI director. Do you believe if the special counsel found that the president committed obstruction of justice, he should be impeached?
Can't make that call right now. It depends. It's crimes and misdemeanors, and it depends if the national security of the United States is in jeopardy. There's so many different things that we don't know just yet. How can anyone make that decision without the conclusion of the investigation? Now it's all speculation.
All right, Congressman, I want to give you the same opportunity.
Yeah, I just think there's so much politicalization. I co-chair the Florida delegation. I've worked with the Democrats, Elsie Hastings, and the two of us work together. We've tried to find areas that we can get agreement on. I just got rated as one of the most effective and one of the most bipartisan members of Congress by University of Virginia and other credible institutions. We've got to find a way to work together.
Okay. Another issue that weighs on the minds of many people who live here on the Suncoast and everywhere is the economy. The stock market continues to soar, except for today. But in corporate profits also are soaring thanks to last year's tax cut. The gross domestic product is over 4%. Unemployment is at a 49-year low. But as the New York Times recently reported, hourly earnings have moved forward at a crawl, with higher prices giving workers less buying power than a year ago. A lot of middle-class residents of the Suncoast continue to struggle to make ends meet. Many still don't earn what they used to before the 2008 economic collapse. So, Congressman, what specific ideas do you have to change that?
Well, I don't think the New York Times is right. I mean, these are a lot of people that are journalists, they're writing things. I've been in business 40 years. The business, when I left, we had 1,200 employees, almost $1 billion enterprise. I can tell you, I ran into a merchant in town, just on Main Street, having lunch yesterday. And my point is unemployment goes down, They can't find workers. They're going to pay more. You're going to see bigger paychecks. Talk to anybody that's in the real world in terms of running a small business, and they're having to pay more. So with this heat and the economy growing like it is, you're going to try to attract and get the best people or better people, you're going to have to pay a lot more to do it. So I think that's going to be in itself. We've got one of the best economies I've seen in 40 or 50 years. We've had good ones, but growing at 4%, nobody thought we'd ever get to 3%. So I think Trump does get some credit as it relates to what the growth has been. As you know, I chaired the Tax Policy Committee. I still do. I think tax reform has made a huge difference. That's that and deregulation. That's why we're exploding and getting everybody back to work today.
Mr. Shapiro.
Well, see, I see a different way. I see a different happening. As an attorney who represents working families, they're struggling. They're struggling. A lot of them don't have stock portfolios. It's not really helping them in any way, shape, or form. They have to have 2 jobs. They still can't afford health insurance. They can't afford daycare. They're having problems putting food on the table, and they have 2 jobs. I mean, they're underpaid, and it's a real problem. I mean, that is the issue with the tax law that we just discussed a moment ago. It was very beneficial to the people who didn't need it. However, the working families really weren't getting sufficient tax benefits or the breaks, which will enable them to, live a life. And there are people that we know that have to live 30 miles away from where they work because they can't afford the housing in the particular area. So it's a different kind of economy. Now, it was starting to get on that great path when President Obama was in office, and it's still a continuation. But there's so much more work to do that has to be done. So it's maybe where Mr. Buchanan goes to have his breakfast and whatnot, I'm seeing a lot of different problems associated with this economy.
All right, Congressman, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond to that.
Let me just say that he's against it. We cut families of 4 in this area $2,400. It makes a big difference. Pelosi, who recruited him, basically said it's crumbs. It's not crumbs to these working families. So I think as the economy grows, talk to anybody. Talk to anybody that's in business trying to attract and get good people. We have businesses in town that my son runs. I talk to him a lot about it. He's having to pay more. Our people are making more because of the economy in general. This is one of the best economies that we've had in a long time. Unfortunately, in law offices, maybe they don't recognize that, but the average business guy out there, small business guy, does make a big difference.
We have to take David?
Well, I have clients who work, not the folks that work for my office, but I represent working people, and I know what they're struggling. The wages are not going up. You just mentioned it. In fact, their buying power is even less right now. So this is not the booming economy for everyone.
All right, let's take a quick break. Coming up next, the most important question everyone watching this will have to face right after we get the check on the first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A quick hit on weather right now. Sunset, not much of one as a result of some clouds that have moved in. And we have a bit of a change in store for us as we move through time over the next couple of days. There is a stationary front located right across the northern Gulf of Mexico. On top of that, we have an area of low pressure developing in the northwest Gulf. That is going to be moving in our direction, more than likely passing over north central Florida throughout the day on Thursday and Friday, and then eventually tracking up into the northeast for a big nor'easter there. We're going to get a cold front associated with that, which will cool us down. Right now, that cool weather is still bottled up behind that stationary front, but that eventually is going to move on in for the weekend. So we'll look for cooler temperatures to slide in for the weekend, and it'll feel quite nice, especially on Sunday. The best day of the weekend will be Sunday as skies will clear and temperatures will be on the cooler side. Right now, some light rain falling well offshore mainly, maybe a few sprinkles possible this evening, but not a lot of rainfall anticipated. You can see that little light rain just to the west of Longboat Key, pushing to the east at around 10 miles an hour. And as far as the futurecast goes, we're looking for partly cloudy skies tomorrow. We'll see a weak cold front coming down, but that front will fade away before it reaches us. And then this storm will start to gather out in the western Gulf of Mexico and bring us some rainfall late Thursday and mainly into Friday. For boaters tomorrow, winds will be out of the north at 10 knots. Seas will be a light chop out there. Seas running 2 feet or less. Those winds and seas will pick up for boaters on Friday and Saturday. Small craft advisories more than likely issued on those days. Temperatures, notice, cooling down by Saturday and Sunday. We'll be in the 70s. Look at Tuesday, 75. Alan will be back with the debate right after this. Stick around.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With Guaranteed Acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TrueStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
Blue 32! Blue 32! Hot, hot! It's the Gatto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Gatto dealership. Buy with zero down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Gatto location near you or visit Gatto.com.
Gatto's got it.
Planning a Carnival Fantasy Cruise out of Mobile? Then check out the park and cruise packages at the luxurious Battle House and Renaissance Riverview Plaza hotels. Stay at the Battle House for $169 per night, or the Riverview Plaza for just $149 per night, and leave your car for the duration of your cruise. Includes transportation to and from the cruise terminal. If you're cruising out of Mobile, come stay with us. Call 1-800-MARRIOTT or visit Marriott.com now.
Hurricane season is here, and so is the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. This essential resource arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit, shelter locations, what to do with pets, and important phone numbers. Visit mysuncoast.com and download the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Brought to you by Batteries Plus, the Florida Lottery, and Sarasota Glass and Mirror.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to the 16th Congressional District debate. Joining us is Republican Vern Buchanan and Democrat David Shapiro. The next question, David, I believe goes to you. More than half of the people who are watching us right now are covered by health insurance through their employers, not the Affordable Care Act. And according to the State Health Access Data Assistance Center, the cost to employees are up across the board. Copay is up 2.4% to 4.2%. Premiums are up 5.5%. Deductibles up 10.7%. For many families, this wipes out anything that they gained through the tax cuts last year. So with all the talk about the Affordable Care Act, what would you do to fix employer-based insurance so middle-income families can keep up?
All right. Well, the Affordable Care Act has indeed provided coverage to millions of Americans that otherwise couldn't have received it. And now we're starting to see the people are starting to see the benefits. Now, when it was first passed with opposition, there was a lot of talk. I know the Congressman Buchanan did not vote for it, but now we see the benefits. So what we have to do is work on that particular program, get more people involved in it so we can drive the cost down. It's really that simple. You get more participation, get young people and healthy people to sign up. That'll drive the cost down across the board. I think that will fix it.
But I'm asking about employer-based insurance, which is actually also becoming unaffordable to more and more middle-income families.
Well, there's going to be an option to get on the ACA, and that'll help drive down the cost of the employer-based system. I mean, if you can get it competitive, you can make it. You can drive the cost down.
Okay, Congressman, the same question to you. We're not talking about the Affordable Care Act. We're talking about employee-based insurance, which the premiums and deductibles are going up almost every year, and it's actually covering less.
It's a huge problem. That's where we have to try to work together. It's bankrupting the middle class. You talk about not having any money, you make a little bit more money. A lot of this cost has got pushed to them. My first 20 years in business, my wife and I, we paid for everybody's health care. The last 20 years, I'm sure in David's law firm, more and more gets pushed to the employee. So the typical thing in our town now is the employer might pay $700 a month or $10,000 a year, and then the employee, many times the family of four, is picking up $400. Then they have a $7,000 deductible. So it's a huge challenge and a problem. I would also say my biggest concern is, and I mentioned it before, is they're looking to go down the road with this concept of government-run health care, which would be $33 trillion. We don't even take that in, barely take that in 10 years. That puts Medicare, Social Security, and our veterans, their benefits, all they've earned, at risk. And someone says, is that the case? Yes, it's the case. You have 120 members on the Democratic side that have already signed up for it.
Okay, Congressman, a lot of Suncoast residents depend on Social Security and Medicare. Do you both promise that no matter what, that these programs, you will not vote to cut these programs or raise the retirement age, Congressman?
I'm on the committee, Ways and Means. Basically, we oversee health care, Medicare, taxes, trade, Social Security. I'm senior on that committee, so I'm just telling you for sure I'm going to do everything I can, not just for our district, but for seniors across America. I'm in a very good position to have a big impact on that. And that's what I'm concerned about. If you go to government-run health care, it means everybody's insured, 65 and under. You put all the seniors at risk in this district and across the country. I see it every day. You're going to put Medicare at risk, you're going to put Social Security at risk, and veterans, their benefits they've earned, all going to be at risk, and you're going to double the taxes for everybody just to pay for it. So it's a huge issue. And 120 members on his side of the aisle, he'll be there with them if he got up there, are for this, government-run health care. So it's the idea, Medicare for all is Medicare for none.
Okay, Mr. Shapiro.
I would disagree with that. That has never been my position in terms of Medicare for all. My position has been and always will be, at this point, we have the Affordable Care Act. And if we can make it work, improve it, increase the amount of people participating, bringing in the young and the healthy, it'll drive down the cost. That will also help the employer-based systems because they'll have other options that will be a cheaper, better option. I don't know what Congressman Buchanan is talking about in terms of the Medicare for all. We're really not on the table. To answer your question, on the other hand, I would tell you that I will not do anything that would cut Medicare or Social Security. On the other hand, Congressman Buchanan agreed with Paul Ryan's budget that wanted to privatize Medicare, which would have been problematic, or privatize Social Security and then use voucher system in Medicare, which according to the AARP and other nonpartisan groups, that would have driven up the cost to the seniors by 5 times. So, you know, I would not be for that.
Okay. Congressman, let me give you 30 seconds to respond.
Let me just say, I think what David has never been up there, so he doesn't understand. He's worked, he's going to work for and be bought by Nancy Pelosi. She's being pushed by the progressives. They've got 120 people already signed up for government health care. That's where it's going on their side. And for him to think something different is crazy. Now, let me just tell you, I've looked at the local numbers for what he's talking about, the ACA or Obamacare. But the bottom line is the average person in our area is $30,000 a year to get the silver plan. Now, if you get some subsidy, it's less than that, but that's what it is, $30,000 a year. Nobody, and I mean nobody, can afford that, the working class families.
We have to take another quick break. We are just getting warmed up. The 16th Congressional District debate between Congressman Vern Buchanan and Democrat David Shapiro will continue in a moment. When we come back, is it time to make a huge change?
There are lots of people who are confused about which Medicare plan is right for them.
Hey, that's me. I barely know where to start.
Well, start here with me, Karen. I'm a licensed Humana sales agent.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Karen. I'm John Smith.
Hi, John. At Humana, we know you're unique, so you have different needs from other John Smiths.
Yeah, I've always thought so.
And together, we can find a plan that's right for you.
Great. I go to the doctor a couple of times a year, and I have some prescriptions, but I'm never fully sure of what's covered and what's not.
With Humana's all-in-one Medicare Advantage plans, you get coverage for hospital stays, doctor visits, and Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable and sometimes no monthly plan premium.
Do you have any more information?
Sure. I'll get a decision guide in the mail to you today. They're free.
Finally, someone who understands the real me.
Your health and happiness is important to us. Call or go online now to get your free decision guide. Call a licensed Humana sales agent today.
Mascara adds depth to the eyes. Lipstick gives the mouth color and definition. And ALS paralyzes the body.
You look great, Mom.
Thank you. Slowly taking away the ability to move and eventually breathe.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch ABC7 wherever you are, on our live stream, on mysuncoast.com, on the ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, dining with recipes, and My Suncoast Restaurant Guide. Visit mysuncoast.com. Click on the Apps tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for Apple and Android.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon? You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Imagine doing Disney on a budget. A $150 budget. Before you laugh out loud, this guy did it with his family of 4.
I think that was the point where we said, okay, this is real. How can we benefit from this?
Trips to Scotland, Bermuda, and Yosemite, all for free.
And I get to live this life that I choose.
How did he travel more and spend less? We reveal his secret on the next Watching Your Wallet. This Thursday at 6 on ABC7.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
Welcome back to the 16th Congressional District debate. Joining us is Republican Vern Buchanan and Democrat David Shapiro. Congressman, you get the next question. In 2015, you called the national debt a ticking time bomb on Fox News. A balanced budget amendment is the first measure you wrote that you introduced in Congress, and once you wrote that it is the best solution and we must force Washington to balance its books and return fiscal sanity. But you, as you said, helped write last year's tax law, which increased the nation's budget deficit by 70% over the last year to $779 billion. Why was a balanced budget amendment a good idea in 2015 and not now?
It's a good idea at any point in time. I was on the Budget Committee. For 50 years, we balanced it 5 times. I don't have any trust in Democrats or Republicans. We need a balanced budget amendment. We've got it on the floor a couple of times. We didn't quite get there. But let me just say the last administration, when Pelosi became Speaker in 07 and Harry Reid in 07 and Barack Obama in 08, for that 10 years, they ran up $10 trillion in debt. They ran up more debt than George Washington to George Bush, if you go back and look at the math. And so I have no confidence on either side. Now, that being said, we have record amount of revenues because of the economy. Even with the tax cuts, record amount of revenues, we've got a spending problem, and that's got to get dealt with. That's the real issue. So we get more revenues than we've ever had right now, and yet we're overspending that too much. And that's why I want, like 49 out of 50 governors had, that you don't spend more and you take in, like families and small business. We need a constitutional balanced budget amendment just like they have.
Mr. Shapiro.
Well, I would have asked that very same question, because I too am aware of Mr. Buchanan's the record of he wanted a balanced budget. Now, this is the same problem I have with the recent tax law. It increased it put another hole in it of like $2 trillion. And I don't understand why in 2015 it meant it was absolutely required to balance the budget now, when there's this tax cut for particularly the wealthy, which we know, it's okay to have. And then I don't see anyone that I have met that actually had any benefit whatsoever from that tax law. So who is going to be able to pay those revenues? And how are we going to get that money back? When you're talking about not spending more, that's when you put Medicare and Social Security at risk, or the things that you absolutely need, like research for opioid crisis and our infrastructure. This is what the problem was with the tax law. You know, it was taking money from people, it was giving breaks to people who didn't need it. Now we need the revenue, and we have this giant deficit, and who is going to be able to, who's going to have to pay it?
All right.
Let me just add quickly.
30 seconds.
He brought up that nobody benefits. I don't know who his friends are. Everybody benefits. 90% of Americans benefit. 90% get a $2,400 deduction. Small business gets $2,500. They get full expensing. So if you buy a copy or something in there, instead of writing it off over 5 years, you can write it off now. That saves you some money. It helps grow the economy. And that's why we're going to 3-4% growth, or 4% growth is the last thing, because we're supercharging small businesses. They're creating more jobs, and that's why unemployment is difficult right now. And with that, people are getting bigger paychecks.
Right. If you want 30 seconds to respond to that.
And the other point was about the debt under the Obama administration. We were in the middle of a Great Recession. I mean, literally. I mean, it was absolutely necessary.
10 trillion?
Well, I mean, it was absolutely the Great Recession that was caused by the Bush administration. So something had to be done to avoid a Great Depression. So I don't think it's fair to compare that deficit at that time. Clearly, we didn't need to add another $2 trillion to the deficit.
Let me just say, just quickly, he blames it on the Bush administration. They were there 10 years. Pelosi, Reid, and Obama for 10 years. They ran up $10 trillion in debt. At some point, you got to take responsibility. If I put a person in business, I can't say for 10 years later, blame it on the last guy. You know, they were not pro-business, and as a result, we never got more than 1.5% growth, and that's why the country is struggling, or has been struggling as a result when they were there.
All right, let me ask another question that is really on people's minds. If it's not health care and their budget, it is the price of things that are going up after several years of relatively cheap gas. Gas prices have shot up. According to the AAA, global supply and demand concerns continue to weigh on oil prices, which are dragging gas prices higher. As a result, OPEC output remains low, and the U.S. sanctions are expected to limit exports from Iranian crude. Mr. Shapiro, as you know, that we left the Iran nuclear agreement, which really slowed up and cut down on Iranian oil imports. Was it a mistake to leave that agreement, yes or no? What would you do to lower the price of gasoline?
All right, well, it's a two-part question, obviously. In terms of whether we should have left the Iranian agreement, I wasn't in favor of it for different reasons when it was first entered into by the Obama administration. It was a matter of security for Israel. But once we got into the agreement, until such time as Iran absolutely broke that deal, I think we had an obligation globally to stay within that deal. And if there was a problem with it, we should have, consulted with our allies and tried to repair it as opposed to just abandon it. And now in terms of the cost of gasoline and the issues that you're talking about in terms of losing the oil from Iran, maybe now is a good time to start transitioning over to solar energy. Maybe this is exactly the reason why for so many years people have said, let's try to transition away from fossil fuel and start using solar and wind, because we're going to have these issues constantly. So that would be my response to that.
Congressman, same question to you.
When I first started running for Congress, the whole thing was get off foreign oil. So David and I kind of agree on this. We got a lot more capability. We've got a lot more production capability, but I think you need all the above. Solar is making a difference. The wind is making a difference. It's not a big difference. I like to get that technology, but we need to look at all the sources. But we are producing more. It's really about supply and demand in the world. And so I just feel we become more energy independent, but at the same time, I think I agree with David on this. We need to do all the above, every opportunity. I can tell you in the car industry, they're moving towards more and more electric cars. You're going to see radical change probably in the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay, we have to take a quick break. We have just one more round of questions. When we come back, one of the dire issues facing all of us. Stay with us.
Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP is the largest locally owned CPAP supply company in the area. Is it time to replace your old equipment? The staff at Sarasota Oxygen and CPAP can show you the most up-to-date CPAP equipment and supplies to meet your sleep apnea needs, including portable travel devices and the SoClean automatic CPAP sanitizer. We serve all of Southwest Florida, giving the highest quality of care with the finest CPAP equipment. Please visit our website, sarasotacpap.com.
Blue 32, Blue 32, hot, hot. It's the Ghetto Gridiron Challenge. The game's on to sell 2,000 vehicles. 12 teams compete for the #1 spot. Score a great deal at every Ghetto dealership. Buy with 0 down. Make no payments for 90 days. Choose from 14 of your favorite brands, all on sale. Who will make it to the end zone? You decide. Rush to a Ghetto location near you or visit Ghetto.com.
Ghetto's got it.
If you're looking for the perfect trip that allows you to spend quality time with a family, then discover the great outdoors on an Alabama Black Belt adventure. Create unforgettable memories while hunting, fishing, or biking and hiking. Or play the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, now celebrating 25 years. And while you're here, enjoy the flavors of the Black Belt. Book your adventure at our lodges or stay in the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa. Start planning an Alabama Black Belt adventure today.
Your last chance for 2018 Honda Civics on sale is now. During our model year-end sale, try new Civics for just $169 a month. You made Civic the best-selling compact car in America. And now get Civic, a KBB.com's best buy of the year for less than the competition. New Civics just $169 a month. Your last chance for Civics, all on sale this week at your local Honda dealer.
When the call comes in, it's time to go to work. We'll respond first, but FBL is right there with us.
You really never know what you're going to pull up on. You don't know what type of call you're going to have. You don't know, once you get to that call, what you're going to encounter.
Whether it's a big storm, it could be a house fire, you must be ready at all times.
We're always happy to see FPL. It's pretty much a team effort. Everybody has a job to do.
We know we can count on them. They'll be there, and so will we.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back to the 16th Congressional District debate, and joining us is Republican Vern Buchanan and Democrat David Shapiro. I do want to talk about gun deaths in the United States, particularly from Parkland to Orlando to Las Vegas to that church in Texas. Mass shootings with assault-style weapons and large-capacity magazines have left a bloody trail of death and heartache. No other country has this kind of problem to the degree that we do. So, Congressman, the question that a lot of people, especially in Florida, are asking is, should assault-style weapons and large-capacity magazines be banned?
I'm for the Second Amendment, as you know, but I think the big thing, we've got to find a way. I met with the children from Parkland. In fact, I haven't said this much, but I was a teenager and had a gun put at my head, and I didn't think I was going to see the next day. So I've had that sensitivity about what they are going for. But there's one of the fathers have unfortunately lost his daughter in that. Pollock, and he's got a plan which is really geared around school safety, but we need to do more on mental health. I'm for 100% background checks. I was one that came out early on bump stocks, so there's a lot more that we can do, but we need to do it together, I think, and I'm hoping this next Congress. The bill that got passed in Florida, I think there was some good things there. One of the things on the red flag law that they put in place. So I think there's a lot of different things that we can do, and we clearly need to do it. We need to, most importantly, keep our children safe. I'm not for the idea of teachers carrying guns, but I do think we need to have security in some of these schools, and I know they are doing that, and that's an important thing.
Mr. Shapiro.
Well, my position is very clear on this. I believe certainly that it's not a binary choice between the Second Amendment and having gun safety. I've said it before, I have the endorsements of, early on with Cabby Giffords. I think that there's no reason to have a weapon, an assault weapon in civilian population. Certainly, a background check is absolutely imperative. We do not want people with a mental illness who have a history of domestic violence to have a gun. We should close all the loopholes. If we're going to go to the trouble of passing these laws, we must make sure that they can't be circumvented. And I do believe that we need more money in schools, not necessarily to arm the teachers, but to put people in there who can identify kids who are in trouble. Like, for example, the one at Parkland, I talked to an expert and said it was a flashing light. That should have been really picked up. So we need to invest in that kind of security to make sure that people are aware of what's happening. It's the isolation of the kids, but absolutely we need to do something about gun violence immediately.
Okay, David, the next question is to you. We've been reporting on that caravan of several thousand men, women, and children, migrants from Central America heading to the U.S. border as we speak. President Trump says this is a national emergency and is considering sending U.S. troops to protect the border. Is it a national emergency, and should U.S. military go and protect the border?
We are a nation of laws and we're a nation of immigrants. You know, our values should reflect both. We need strong border security. What I see happening with President Trump right now is he's getting everyone scared. He's dividing the nation. These are people who are trying to get away from horrific circumstances, not unlike some of our grandparents and our parents. So I don't know that we have to call out the military and start making claims that these are terrorists and they're murderers and they're rapists, when really are they really just people trying to get to the border to America? Now, does the military require? You know, I don't think so. Do we need more border security? People can come and go through the process of vetting to make sure that bad people don't get into our country. I would certainly agree with that. But some of his language is divisive and it's fear-mongering. So we have to keep our values. I understand that we have to have strong border security, and but yet we've got to be humane.
Congressman, again, is this a national security, and should U.S. military troops go to the border?
If we need to, we're completely different on this. You just can't let anybody come in. You'll have millions, tens of millions coming up from Central and South America. David's for open borders. And I think that's a problem. ICE is a big problem. My grandparents came from Finland, but they came here legally. And we process over 1 million people a year. And we're a land of immigrants, but you just can't let anybody come into the country. And David's open to that. When they go to the border, you're going to have 7,000 in the caravan. It could be up at 10,000. What keeps the next 10,000 from going there? So you just can't have open borders, get rid of ICE, and that's the mindset on his side of the aisle. And it's very, very unfortunate. And I think we got to send a tough message, and I will.
See, I would disagree with that. That is not my position.
What are you going to do? Just let them come in? All 7,000?
No.
What are you going to do?
No, you have to go down there, and you have to meet. But you don't send the military. Well, you have ICE and you have the customs
ICE
control.
Isn't going down there. That's
you have
not the way it
customs
works.
folks that come down. What would you? But would you
Those
have
are
military and
Border
shoot
Patrol
them?
people.
Do you shoot them? I mean, you have to be.
You don't shoot
these
them,
are
but you don't let them
families
in.
that are trying to get away. Yes, it's a problem, and it's But is this the way to go? To make people afraid and call them terrorists and murderers, or do we want to just vet them and make sure that the right people come in? And I am not for open borders.
But 7,000 is going to lead to 700,000.
Let's try to get to one more topic before we have to take a break. Obviously, all of us here on the Suncoast have been dealing with the red tide and green algae from Lake Okeechobee. I know, Congressman, that you've gotten a lot of money for Marine Labs to find answers to it. Ron DeSantis, who's running for governor, has declined all money from Big Sugar during his gubernatorial campaign. It's been reported that you took over $100,000 for them. Is it appropriate to return the money? Does Big Sugar have a big responsibility for what they dump into our water supply?
Let me just say, if someone wants to support the campaign, then I don't know how much they've given us lately, but you got to raise it's an $8 million race. You got to raise money. But the bottom line is, for me, take a look at my record. I just got $8 million, my bill, for Red Tide. Just co-sponsored another bill for $15 million. We just got that, and then we're talking about another $100 million that we're looking at. He's become a election day environmentalist. But the bottom line is, what did he ever do before he got involved? The 10 years before I ever ran for Congress, basically I worked on Molten Marine in terms of a trustee. I was vice chairman of Molten Marine, and I worked closely with the CEO, and he has made it clear that I'm a leader on these issues.
David, a quick response.
Well, yeah, absolutely. No, I totally disagree with everything that Congressman Buchanan said. I have been an environmentalist all my life. I've never denied climate change. I believe in science. I believe that the Earth is in peril. In terms of the money that was given, was brought down to Mount Marine, that's about research. I get it, but right now we need to actually do something. We know what's causing it. It is big sugar. We know that. So let's first start with stopping what is causing it, and then start doing the research how to mitigate the problem.
All right, we have to take a quick break. When we come back, the candidates will make their closing remarks, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harron. Bob.
Thanks, Ellen. And here are the weather headlines as they read. Warmer overnight. We've had a couple of mornings in the 60s, which has been really quite nice to see that somewhat fall weather. Our normal low for this time of year is 65 degrees, so it has been quite nice. But we're going to see in the low 70s overnight, and then storms are possible Friday. Now, the chance for thunderstorms is at 20%, the rain chance at 60%. So I think more showers than thunderstorms. And then we cool down for the weekend, more so on Sunday than Saturday, but it'll be nice, nice change. And looks like another cold front is due to arrive again Tuesday of next week. So these cold fronts are going to start coming down more often, and we'll start to cool that water temperature down too, which is still in the low to mid 80s, which actually fueled the storm Michael as it made its way through. This storm is going to make its way through. This is a stationary front. You'll notice how the showers are moving basically off to the east. There are a few showers just west of our area. Some of them have been trying to make their way in. In fact, near Anna Marie Island, a little bit of light rainfall there. Most of this will stay offshore. We'll see the debris clouds overnight, so look for cloudy skies. Low temperatures will be a little bit warmer in the low 70s. And you can see that rain, as I mentioned, a little light rain right there near Anna Marie Island, also into St. Petersburg, some showers. Some of this may not even be reaching the ground right now, but the heavier storms will stay offshore, so we're not anticipating a lot of rainfall for this evening or tomorrow for that matter. High pressure will still build in and keep skies generally partly cloudy out there as that storm gathers in the west. For boaters tomorrow, not too bad, but winds and seas will pick up as that front nears by on Friday. And on Saturday, look for small craft advisories to be flying. As far as the forecast goes, partly cloudy skies Wednesday looks good, temperatures staying warm, and then cooling down for the weekend. Final comments coming up right after this. Stick around.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now. In one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do.
Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000.
Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining. Watch Suncoast View weekdays at 9 a.m. on ABC7.
Welcome back. It's already time for closing statements, and by the congressman went first to open. Mr. Shapiro, you go first to close.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks for this opportunity. Congress is broken. The politicians in Washington right now are so busy arguing with themselves, they're not getting anything done. And quite honestly, Congressman Buchanan is part of that problem. You cannot believe his comments when he talks about independent and bipartisan, because the record shows that he has voted 98% of the time with the Republican Party and 96% of the time with President Trump. He toes the party line, even when it means hurting people here at home. And people need someone who could go to Congress, work on both sides of the aisle, and get it done. The record shows that Congressman Buchanan has not fought for health care for working families and people with pre-existing condition. He hasn't fought for the protection of Medicare and Social Security for our seniors, and he hasn't really fought for the environment. He has a 9% rating with the League of Conservation Voters, and that's not good. We need someone who's going to reach across the aisle, work hard, fight for the families, fight for our communities. If you elect me as your congressman, I promise you I will go to Washington and I will fight with you, and I'll work with anyone who will see that we can get this job done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just say, thanks for the opportunity to be with you tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you over the years, and I look forward to moving forward. But let me just tell you, that's why my opponent is losing this race. He's run a dark campaign, not on the issues. He's attacked me on the boat for, spent over $3.5 million with his dark friends from that, and it's really a tragedy. But the bottom line is, I'm in a very good position. I'm a senior member on Ways and Means, Social Security, Medicare, that I can weigh in a big way. I co-chair the third largest delegation in the country. That combination, I'm going to be able to deliver on things that are important to you. Tomorrow I'll pass the 16th bill that'll turn into law that helps us with red tide, that helps us with veterans, also in terms of helping with Wares Creek in Manatee County was something. It was almost a $50 million project. So I'm working for you. I tell people I'm humbled to be a congressman, but at the end of the day, I'm a representative. I'm going to do the best I can to serve you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you both very much. Congressman Vern Buchanan, Democrat David Shapiro, thank you all for joining us. And stay safe on the campaign trail. And if you remember, democracy, this thing we got going, there's a saying, decisions are made by those who show up. So show up. Good night.